There was a road here once, stone laid by hand for feet that no longer come. It runs beneath the weeds now, beneath roots that have spent 30 years deciding the road no longer matters. You can still feel its shape if you walk slowly enough. Most people don't walk slowly enough anymore. This is the Emperor's Forgotten Garden. It does not appear on any modern map. The guides who once led visitors to its 40 separate courtyards have been dead for longer than most of us have been alive. And yet, somehow, the garden is still here. Quietly, without permission, without an audience. The gate announces this before anything else does. It was carved from a single block of marble, dragons and phoenixes chasing each other across its surface. Gold leaf pressed into every groove by hands that worked for years on this alone. Someone spent a lifetime carving this. The wind has spent longer uncarving it. One panel has fallen inward now, leaning at an angle no architect ever intended. Roots have found their way into the carving lines, prying gold leaf loose 1 decade at a time. A few flecks of it still catch the gray afternoon light, flickering weakly like a memory trying to stay lit. Pass through the broken gate and the first tree appears almost by accident. A black pine, ancient even by the standards of this place, growing exactly as it pleases. No one has touched this tree in 30 years. It grew anyway. It just stopped asking permission. Its branches go where branches naturally go when nothing stops them. Some up, some sideways. A few simply dead and pale among the green. Never removed, never mourned. The pedestal beneath it is imperial stone, carved once with court symbols, now worn soft by moss. The roots have found the cracks in that stone and pushed through them, the way water finds the lowest point in any room. This was the Emperor's private garden. 40 bonsai. One groundskeeper assigned to each by decree, because a tree this old was considered more valuable than most of the men who tended it. Now, one tree. No one. A bird has built a nest in the tangled branches, completely unbothered by the camera, completely unbothered by anything. It was once forbidden to even look at this tree without permission from 3 separate officials. Now, even the birds don't ask. They simply live here. They always understood something about ownership that the rest of us took centuries to learn. That it never really belonged to anyone. It was only ever borrowed. But further in, past the gate, past the wild pine, something else is waiting. A lake, or what remains of one. Once, the emperor sat here to watch his garden. The throne is gone. The lake that surrounded it is gone too. 2/3 of it dried to cracked earth. The patterns in the mud forming hexagons no one designed. Geometry that only appears when water disappears slowly enough for the ground to remember its own shape. 42 steps lead up to the small island where the summer throne once stood. 1 step for every year of his reign. The 38th step is missing now. No one repaired it. No one will. And there, exactly where the throne used to sit, something is still sitting. A juniper, twisted as though it spent every one of those decades fighting something invisible. Nearly half of it is dead wood now, bone white, smooth, almost luminous in this flat gray light. And the other half is stubbornly, defiantly green. The throne is gone. Something is still sitting here. Even in death, some things refuse to look ordinary. 11 other trees once stood in a circle around this one. Their pedestals remain, each one telling a different small story of disappearance. One scorched as if by fire, one simply empty, with nothing but an old nail hole where a pot was lifted away and never returned. No one knows what happened to them. No one is left to ask. The lake holds their absence the way it holds everything else now. Quietly, without explanation. What water remains reflects the island and the lone surviving tree. But the reflection is not the kind you'd expect from a place built for an emperor's pleasure. It is broken by floating moss, disturbed by fallen leaves, softened at the edges by algae that has had 40 years to settle in. This is a different kind of beauty. Not the beauty of perfection, the beauty of what's left when perfection finally gives up. This light has nothing to prove anymore. And beyond the throne, the glass house still stands. Mostly, they built it to keep the cold out. Iron and glass. An entire structure dedicated to controlling a single variable. Temperature. For the benefit of trees that could have survived without that help, if anyone had asked them. The cold got in anyway. Eventually, everything does. Most of the glass panels are shattered now, or so clouded by decades of weather that they barely admit light. A few panels remain whole, scattered without pattern across the roof, leading through narrow shafts of gray gold light that fall like something almost holy onto the room below. Inside, a pond that was never meant to be wild has gone wild anyway. The water is cloudy.
The centerpiece of the exhibition, this ancient black pine, showcases a colossal nibari.
The art of bonsai extends beyond the tree itself, encompassing the landscape, the water, and even the life beneath the pedestal.
One boy in particular moves through the murky water with the unhurried confidence of something that has simply outlived its problems. Its colors have faded from whatever brilliant pattern it was bred from. They always do, eventually, when no one is left to select for brightness. But there's a presence to it now that no hatchery koi ever has. This one has outlived every person who ever fed it. A beam of light falls through one broken pane directly onto the pond's surface. And for a moment, the murky water becomes a small, private cathedral. Dust suspended in the column of light. Moisture hanging in the air like something caught between stakes, refusing to decide if it's mist or rain. A fish crosses through the beam and is, for exactly 1 second, the most illuminated thing in the entire structure. Then it's gone again. Back into the cloudy water, back into anonymity. Two trees stand near each other on opposite pedestals, and the contrast between them says more than any plaque ever could. One is completely dead, a pale skeleton of branches, bleached and dry, holding its shape only because no wind has yet been strong enough to take it down. The other, inches away, is vividly alive. Same neglect, same 40 years. One chose to die. One refused. No one will ever know what separated them. Soil, perhaps, or something less explainable. Look closer at the living one, and you'll find its roots have broken free of the original pot entirely, pushing through a cracked floor tile into the bare earth below. It broke its own pot to survive. No one taught it that. It simply needed to, and so it did. There's something almost defiant in a root system that refuses to stay contained once containment stops serving its purpose. Birds move in and out through the broken panels now. The structure long since reclaimed as part of the wider landscape, rather than separate from it. Spiderwebs stretch between branches, dew catching the scattered light in small, perfect points. Nothing here was designed to look like this. It just happened. For 40 years, it just happened. Light falling where glass allowed it. Life growing where neglect allowed it. Beauty assembling itself entirely by accident. Even the reflection of the dead tree gets its moment on the pond's surface, distorted slightly when the old koi passes beneath it. Even a dead tree gets a reflection. The water doesn't judge. Up on the hill above the glass house, someone built something to last forever. They were almost right. The path leading up is barely visible now, swallowed by grass that was once kept trimmed by a dozen gardeners, working in careful rotation. A few stone lantern posts lie fallen in that grass, never righted, never missed by anyone who could have righted them. This path once required 12 gardeners. Today, none. And it survives anyway. At the top, a pavilion. Curved roof, red paint faded almost entirely to a tired brown-gray. One corner collapsed just enough to let the sky in. Inside, the trees are arranged exactly as they always were, in a hierarchy that made perfect sense to everyone who once understood Imperial protocol, and means nothing at all to anyone who doesn't. Even the trees had rank here. The closer to center, the older, the more important. The trees at the outer edge, the ones meant for lower officials, for guests who waited at a respectful distance, have mostly died. They were for the ones who waited outside. They waited long. The trees waited longer. But at the exact center, where only the emperor himself was permitted to stand close, a tree still thrives. 5 trunks rise from a single base, a shape chosen deliberately centuries ago to represent something about lineage, about the 5 elements, about a family that believed itself permanent. This is the only tree that still looks like someone meant for it to be perfect. Its bark has separated into layers over the decades, each layer marking some era none of us can name precisely. But you can almost feel the weight of all that accumulated time pressing into the wood itself. You can count the centuries in the bark if you have the patience the emperor never had. A section of the roof has fallen in just above this tree, and the light that pours through the gap lands precisely on one side of it. Not by design, simply by the geometry of decay. The kind of accidental spotlight no lighting designer could ever plan, and no camera could improve on. In the corner of the pavilion, a few objects remain. A broken ceramic vase, a piece of silk, decayed past recognition of its original color, a paper fan, torn through the center. No one knows whose they were. No one will explain them here. Some things were left behind, not lost, left. There's a difference, even if the difference no longer matters to anyone but the objects themselves. The sun still sets here. It just does it without an audience, painting the pavilion in shades of gray-violet that no one will photograph. No one will remember. No one will mourn when tomorrow's sunset replaces it. A bird, large, dark, patient, has taken up residence on the broken corner of the roof, looking down over the whole scene with the quiet authority of something that has decided this view now belongs to it. But the longest wall in the garden holds the saddest trees of all. It runs for what feels like an impossible distance, lined with small pedestals, each one meant to hold a single tree sent as tribute from a different province of an empire that no longer exists in any form recognizable to the living. This wall once held 1,000 bonsai, a gift from 1,000 different provinces, each one trying, in its own way, to say something true about loyalty, using nothing but roots and patience and a few decades of careful shaping. Each province sent their best tree, as tribute, as loyalty, as art. From the north, a juniper shaped by winds that no one standing here today has ever felt. Its bark silver gray, its foliage low and dense, built for survival in a climate this garden never actually experienced. Shaped instead by the idea of their climate, by a province's memory of itself. From the north, a tree shaped by wind no one here has felt. From the south, something entirely different. A small fruiting tree, its branches once heavy with fruit that has long since fallen or shriveled into a few dried remnants still clinging on. From the south, a tree that once bore fruit for a table that no longer exists. Beneath it, a small bronze plaque, the engraving worn down to almost nothing. A province's name, a date, perhaps a sentiment of devotion. None of it legible anymore. None of it explained here. All of it slowly returning to unreadable metal. There were names here once. Provinces, dates, pride. Now, just metal, slowly returning to the ground. Long stretches of this wall hold nothing but death. Dozens of trees in sequence, blotched and skeletal, standing only because gravity hasn't yet decided to finish what neglect started. Not every tribute survives its emperor. The wind moves through these dry branches and makes a sound unlike anything else in the garden. Something between a whisper and a creak. The sound of wood remembering it used to bend instead of just standing rigid against whatever comes. And then, without warning, in the middle of all that dryness, one tree is simply, defiantly alive. A small maple. Its leaves are red so vivid, it seems almost out of place here, almost rude in its refusal to match the mood of everything around it. Except this one. No one knows why this one. Up close, its leaves show every vein in sharp detail. Color so saturated, it looks less like decay's opposite and more like decay's quiet rebellion. The wall stretches on. 1,000 trees reduced to a few dozen survivors scattered unevenly across its length. An accidental pattern that says more about randomness than about any tree's individual strength. 1,000 trees. A few dozen left. The wall remembers all of them anyway, the way a wall remembers anything. By simply continuing to stand, by holding the shape of what it once supported, even after most of that weight is gone. At the far end of the wall, a small door, slightly open, lets somewhere the rest of the garden hasn't prepared you for. At the end of the wall, a door that was never meant to open again. It's open. This part of the garden was never for the emperor. It was hers. The light here is softer, somehow, even under the same gray sky that has covered everything else. A small, private courtyard, filled with flowering trees that have grown entirely without discipline. Sakura, wisteria, azalea, blooming whenever they please, rather than according to any calendar anyone ever imposed on them. Flowers don't ask why no one's watching. They bloom anyway, crookedly, beautifully. An old bronze mirror leans against one wall, partially shattered, its surface clouded green with oxidation. It reflects a wisteria tree in fragments. The distorted, broken into pieces that don't quite reassemble into anything whole. Even her mirror has stopped being honest. Maybe that's a kind of mercy, in a place where total honesty would mean reflecting nothing but absence. A stone bench sits empty in the middle of all this unmanaged blooming, facing a small open space as if it's still waiting for someone to occupy it. No one explains who. No one needs to. The bench simply waits, the way it's waited for decades, collecting a thin layer of fallen petals each season and losing them again to the next season's wind. Nearby, a length of wisteria vine has abandoned whatever trellis once guided it, climbing instead across a small stone archway that has partially collapsed under its own weight. Purple flowers hang through the broken gaps in a way no garden would have designed. But every gardener, looking at it now, might secretly admit looks better than the original plant. She planned every flower once. Now the flowers plant themselves. A piece of embroidered silk, faded almost past recognition, lies across the same bench. Gold thread barely visible. The floral pattern stitched into it decades ago, now competing with a single real petal that has fallen directly on top of one of its embroidered counterparts. Two flowers, one false, one real, both fading at their own separate rates. She embroidered flowers that would never wilt. The real one outlived them anyway. Against all this fading color, a cluster of azalea blooms an almost aggressive red, the single boldest splash of color in the entire courtyard, swaying slightly in whatever breeze finds its way over the courtyard walls. Grief doesn't stop color. It never has. Take it all in at once. The wildflowers, the broken mirror, the empty bench, the decaying silk, and it resembles nothing so much as a still life painting that someone forgot to finish hanging, left instead to keep composing itself, season after season, with no one left to judge whether it succeeded. Everything here fell, except one place. We should see why. The structure that appears next is unlike anything else in the garden, built from what looks like a single mountain of solid stone. Its roof remaining almost entirely intact, while everything around it has slowly surrendered to time. Built, perhaps, to outlast the idea of an empire, even if the empire itself had other plans. Inside, the light behaves differently. Because the roof has survived, light enters evenly through tall windows exactly as it was designed to, decades ago, by architects who understood something about permanence that the rest of the garden's builders apparently didn't share. This is the only room that still looks like someone is coming back. Dozens of bonsai remain here, arranged in careful ceremonial order, each one maintaining the classical shape it was trained into long before neglect became the garden's defining condition. 40 years of neglect. And somehow, this room remembers how to be exact. At the far end, beneath the tallest window, an actual throne remains. Not a metaphorical one, not an empty space where a throne used to be, but the throne itself, gold leaf peeling in patches to reveal dark wood beneath, carving still crisp enough to read even after all this time. Before it, a single bonsai stands in perfect classical form, its bark cleaner than any other tree in the garden, showing less of the deep cracking that marks true neglect. Someone kept coming back, long after everyone else stopped. We don't know who, we never will. Light from the high window falls directly onto the throne's surface, like something choreographed. though nothing here was choreographed by anyone still alive to take credit for it. Dust hangs visible in that light, suspended the way it only seems to suspend in old, undisturbed rooms, slowly, reluctantly, as if even the dust here understands that movement should be measured carefully in a place like this. On the floor nearby, in a thin layer of settled dust, a footprint remains. Not ancient, not decades old, but recent. A few months perhaps. Someone stood exactly here, recently. The dust remembers better than people do. No name accompanies this detail. No explanation follows it. The footprint simply exists, a small fact refusing to resolve into a story, leaving the room's only true mystery exactly where it should remain. Unsolved. For one room, in one corner of a forgotten garden, it still feels like someone is in charge. It's the closest this entire place comes to feeling occupied, even though every visible sign suggests otherwise. But the garden has one more place, the quietest one. The path leading there is overgrown even by this garden's standards. Weeds thicker here than anywhere else, suggesting this particular corner went unvisited, even back when the rest of the garden still had visitors. Not every grave belongs to someone important. Some belong to someone who simply stayed. The grave itself is almost shockingly plain compared to everything that came before it. A simple stone marker, unadorned. None of the carved dragons or gold leaf that decorated everything built for emperors and empresses. But beside it, a single small
The
bonsai
centerpiece
tree
of this
grows in a
world-class
state of
exhibition
obvious,
is this magnificent
careful
pear
maintenance.
bonsai, showcasing
This
an
is
ancient
the only
twist.
tree in the entire garden that still looks cared for. Truly cared for. The engraving on the stone has worn down to almost nothing. Just a few marks where a name and perhaps dates once existed clearly enough to read. We don't know his name. We know he never left. Moss grows at the edges of the stone, but the front face remains noticeably cleaner than everything surrounding it. As if someone, recently, took the time to wipe away what the years tried to add. The tree beside it shows fresh pruning cuts, soil that looks recently disturbed, the unmistakable signs of ongoing quiet attention. 40 years after the empire ended, someone still comes to water one tree. Not for the emperor, for him, whoever he was, whoever still remembers him. Step back, and the contrast becomes almost unbearable in its simplicity. One small, tended grave in the foreground, and behind it, stretching into soft focus, an entire forgotten empire's worth of ruin. An empire can be forgotten by everyone. A person only needs to be remembered by one. As the light fades, the garden has one last thing to show us. The path loops back now, returning toward the area near the original broken gate. The light dropping into deep gray-purple as the day finally surrenders to evening. And there, standing exactly where the camera passed too quickly at the very beginning to notice, stands the oldest tree in the entire garden. The oldest tree in the garden was never inside it. It stood by the gate. Everyone walked past it to find something more impressive. It is modest, unremarkable at a glance, smaller than the 5-trunked tree in the pavilion, smaller than the deadwood heavy juniper on the throne island, far smaller in presence than the perfectly maintained tree before the surviving throne. But it is older than all of them. It has simply never asked to be noticed. And so, for centuries, no one noticed. It outlived the emperor, the empress, the gardener, the empire itself. It's still just a tree by a gate, its roots wrapped quietly around broken stone, its remaining leaves catching the last gray light of the day without any apparent awareness that this light is fading, that this story is ending, that somewhere behind it, an entire kingdom's worth of ambition has crumbled into something this small tree will simply continue to outlast. Empires fall, gardens get forgotten, gardeners die. The trees just keep growing. No one tells them to stop. And somewhere, far off, a single crow calls into the gathering dark. The same call that opened this story, returning now to close it, as if nothing in between had really changed anything at all. Perhaps nothing had. Perhaps that was always the point. The light continues to fade. The wind continues to move through grass that no one will cut tomorrow, or the day after, or for as long as this garden continues to exist in whatever quiet, unattended way it has chosen for itself. There is no ceremony to mark the end of the story, because there was no ceremony to mark the end of the empire. It belonged to either. Things simply stop being tended. And then, if they are fortunate, if something in their nature refuses to fully surrender, they continue anyway. This garden will still be here tomorrow. Most of its visitors will not know it exists. The trees will not mind. They have had decades of practice not minding. They will keep doing what they have always done, growing slowly in whatever direction the world allows them, answering to no calendar, no decree, no rank, no expectation, just light and water, and the slow accumulation of time that no empire, however certain of its own permanence, ever truly understood as well as the tree does. Somewhere in that quiet, a single bonsai stands by a broken gate, holding the entire weight of everything that came before it and asking nothing from anyone who passes by. It never has. It never will. And in its own patient, undramatic way, that may be the most imperial thing left in the whole forgotten garden.